Katana. If it is not, then you have to assume it's a medial kamatz. And if the syllable is closed and accented, emphasized, it's a medial kamatz. So by appearance, how would I know that that's
Page
a short
50.
kamatz, not a medial kamatz, and not a long kamatz? Well, a long kamatz doesn't exist for our purposes anymore. A medial kamatz and a short kamatz are the two contenders, and how would you know the difference? If the syllable is open, then chances are it is a medial kamatz. I see neither a dagesh chazak in that samach. I see not a shvanach in that samach. I conclude that the first syllable is CV, open syllable with a kamatz. It's a good possibility it's medial kamatz. But
Masoret.
then you have another rule that Garber gave you. Rule vowels that are medial, the medial tsere, the medial kamatz, the medial cholam chaseres is called in Hebrew, need to be accented. In the case of the medial kamatz, is either accented or one place removed from the accent. Next syllable, see that samach? It has a medial cholam attached to it. The medial cholam, wherever it occurs in the word, is always accented. Hence, the accent is not the last syllable, but second to last syllable. That's why that kamatz here can be a medial kamatz. It's one place removed from the accent. Get it? That's how you do initial avocation. The emphasis is on the medial vowel, second of the three syllables. And then the last syllable, CBC. Short vowel single, closed syllable is regular. Short vowel should be part of a closed syllable. The word is masoret. And now comes Hebrew spoken and written today in Israel. Israelis don't write with vowels. And one of you has a complication. I have to learn vowels, I don't have to learn vowels. You have to learn both. Vocalized Hebrew is how you get started. Analyzing Hebrew syllables is what Garber adds to Hebrew 1 instruction, taught nowhere else in the district at all. Where did I pick this up? From UCLA. Where did I pick it up? In the 1960s. How did I pick it up? I was a graduate school student. And the graduate school students that were special taught basic Hebrew classes to undergraduates. I taught the Hebrew 1 and Hebrew 2 and Hebrew 3 and Hebrew 4 classes at UCLA when I was a graduate school student. I was maybe 3 years older than my students. That's how we taught in UCLA, in vocalized Hebrew. It is the spoken Hebrew that helps me. I hear people say masoret. They don't say masoret. They say maso. I hear that O being emphasized. That's the clue. And ladies and gentlemen, learning a language is not just simply looking at a printed text. It is saying the words, hearing the words, and getting into that feeling, that way of thinking. In fact, I hear masoret tells me that second syllable is accented. That's how I know. And then finally, you go to a book. I've got a dictionary somewhere here, and I would check out the dictionary, and it probably will have masoret the way I have it. What if it doesn't have it that way? If it doesn't have it that way, then the dictionary is being influenced by spoken Hebrew that writes with a vav. In fact, let me double check that word. Just do something that you can appreciate, all of which is unprepared for today's class, but this is how my mind works. I'm going to check up the word masoret. I'm going to see if it spells it vocalized with the way I spell it on the board. If it does, I would so qualify myself. If it doesn't, I would so say it doesn't. I'm not going to play a game here with you. I just want to double check something. I'm getting to the Mem Samach right now. I want to make sure I have it spelled correctly. I'm looking at the word. I have the word masor. Yep. I have the word masar. That's a verb which says to deliver, to transmit, to inform. For some reason, it does not have the word masoret. I'm going to look at the word masoret, spelled with a vav, and let me see what it says there. I will be very surprised if the word masoret is spelled with a vav in this dictionary. Masor. Oh, it does have it. How interesting. It has the word Masora. Masora. It has collection of textual readings. It spells the word Masora, Mem Samech Vav Resh He. It has a second spelling of Masora, Mem Samech Resh He. It has both spellings. It has both spellings. And you are probably saying, how come? But the reason is the debate probably, should you emphasize that Cholam the way Garber does, or should you not bother with it? So because there is a debate, let's use that term there, and it has both spellings. I'm using Masorah first of all. He's got Masorah. Same translation, the same thing, it's basically the same concept. I didn't expect to see both spellings accepted in this dictionary. And then the word Masor, interesting. If you want to use the word Masor, the word is translated as a slanderer. A slanderer, Masor. Are you people seeing something intriguing about this? The root of the word is to pass on. The text of the Hebrew Bible is called Masoret, the traditional text. And the same three letters has the meaning to slander. Is Yirmiyahu the only one who can appreciate what I'm saying right now? That Bible of yours is nothing more than a slanderous volume. And you all have followed it. And that's why you all want to go to hell. Trivia trial. It's a half vowel, so C on the CV is how that word is broken down, as we basically showed it last time we met. Anyway, at this point, just read the line and fill in, is it moreh, is it morah, is it morid, or is it morot? If you need to have a reason, the ani word is either male or female. It could be zachar nekeva. I'm going to try to use some Hebrew now. Ani is either zachar nekeva. And so it's either or. So the reading of mem vav resh he, you could either go moreh or morah. If I had an adjective following the word mem vav resh he, like the word yafeh, which means nice, masculine,
3C4,
feminine, that will give way whether you read it as ani moreh yafeh or ani morah yafa. But as given, it can either be male or female. Don't make the error by saying, well, the word Tel Aviv is found in that sentence, and did we not learn that all place names, all countries, all continents are feminine in Hebrew? So Tel Aviv by itself is a feminine gender, and that's why the word moreh should be morah, because of the word Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv has nothing to do with the predicate moreh or morah. It's a place location. The moreh or morah has to deal directly only with the word ani. Take one more, Mr. Baruch. Next one. Anachnu.
Morim Universitat.
Okay, good. Anachnu morim ba'università. What about saying it feminine? What if the anachnu was a bunch of women, only women?
Morot.
That's right. So anachnu morim is male only, or male and female together. And if it's strictly women, then the traditional Hebrew will be anachnu morot. All right, the next two, Hannah.
Aten morot Yerushalayim.
Aten morot b'Yerushalayim. Why not aten morim b'Yerushalayim?
Because I have aten for female.
That's right. Very good. Hannah has a very articulate English. Aten is feminine.
50.
If it's strictly feminine,
3C4.
you have to go with the morot word. And b'Yerushalayim in Jerusalem. Odechad, another one. Hannah?
Oh, okay. Uni mora, rima more,
1 second. Are you reading Humorah?
Yes.
Why is it Humorah?
Humoret, sorry.
Okay, Humoret. Why is it Humoret? Wait a minute, why is it Humoret?
Who for the third of 4 years. No, for female.
I can hardly hear you. Is who masculine or feminine?
Who for master.
That's right. I'm having Hannah speak a little English because it's a second language for her, and she's doing okay. Who is Zachar? Who's Zachar? So Zachar is masculine. Who Moret? The next two, the Vanna.
Rina Mora.
Okay, you got the name down. The word is Rina, and here is another problem. If you're not able to see your Hebrew carefully, then get yourself a pair of magnifying glass, which I have in front of me right now. Otherwise, I can't see it. That resh there can easily be confused as a dalet. So if you read the word as Dina, that would be the word Dinah, D-I-N-A-H. But the reading of that word is with a resh, so the word is Rina. Rina is a popular Israeli first name. Feminine, so Rina is a Mora or Moret? Levana?
Oh, Mora.
Next one.
He Mora.
He Mora. Third person subject pronoun is feminine, so it's Mora. Okay, Eli, the next one.
Dalia Ve'aviva.
No, the one before Daria.
At Mora.
That's right. The word at, that aleph tav by itself is a very dangerous word. Number one, it belongs to subject pronoun. And again, when it comes to writing Hebrew, if we gave you examinations, I would tell you need to write your grammar with vowels. It's not a Ze'ev Garber invention. It's a natural application in all Hebrew instruction. The word at, notice how you spell it with a patak, a dagesh, and a shva. Notice the difficulty of how to say this word as a syllable. The consonant aleph with a patak that follows, not an issue. Is this a dagesh hazak or is this a shvanach? What's going on here? Based upon what I told you previously, in the middle of a word, not in the beginning and not at the end, but in the middle of a word, if a letter has a dot and a shva, the dagesh is dagesh hazak, the shva is a shvanach. But this particular word, at, has a letter with a dot at the end, not at the middle and not at the beginning of the word. The question is how to syllabicate it properly. CV, and then what do we do with this combination here? It will be CVC based upon what I told you, that word ant was probably originally ant. And so what you have here is the assimilation of the new one into the Tav. And then that particular shva probably was nothing more than a feature if a last letter of a word ends with a tav, a dalet, and a tet. There's a tendency in ancient Hebrew to write a shvanach under those letters, and it's not meant to be a shvanach. So that's how it be seen. This is a shvanach. It's just a feature. It's nothing for grammar purposes. And that dagesh in the tav is probably a dagesh hazak, representing the assimilated nun. But today you don't have that knowledge, so we just write it without any more complications. And then the aleph tav by itself can easily be confused with a thing that has no translation in English. This is a very common feature of Hebrew, the word et. Et is the sign in a sentence of a direct object that's going to follow. A direct object that will follow. So, for example, the word ro'eh, Hebrew word to see, masculine singular. Ro'ah, kamaseh, the feminine singular word to see. Ani ro'eh. Ani ro'eh bakbuk. Ani ro'eh bakbuk. That word bakbuk is a great word. Pick it up. It means a bottle. Bakbuk. You know something's funny going on here because the word doubles its letters. Any word that has more than 3 letters and the letters seem to be doubled is probably a play upon the meaning of that word. A bakbuk is the water being poured down onto the ground. Bak, 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 bak. Ani ro'eh bakbuk. I ro'eh see bakbuk, a bottle. Notice my English. I see a bottle. Hebrew does not have a word for the indefinite article. Pick up some English terminology. Articles are either indefinite or definite. Indefinite article are the words a or an. Definite article is the word the, which the next Hebrew grammar lesson will be teaching you within a few moments. I see a bottle. Ani ro'eh bakbuk. I see the bottle. When I say I see the bottle, then my direct object is definite. Watch my English. I see the implies something specific. I see a could be any bottle, such as the one that Baruch has. But if I see the bottle, I have a specific bottle of mine. In Hebrew, before you have a definite article, before you have a definite noun mentioned, you add the word et. Ani ro'eh et. Ani ro'eh et habakbuk. Not ani ro'eh bakbuk or habakbuk. I see bakbuk, a bottle. I see habakbuk. I see the bottle. You need to have this word et in front of a definite noun, which is direct object. If the direct object is definite, you have to use the word et. Et does not translate into English. Follow what I just said. Hebrew does not translate a or an in definite articles. English does not translate the Hebrew sign for a definite direct object, which is the word et. And boy, that can get confusing. But just know the grammar. And the et word without vowels is spelled the same as at. It's aleph tongue. The difference is when you vocalize, et looks like this. You say, oh, it looks like this. But without vowels, the two letters look the same. Once you get into reading Hebrew again and again, it'll come natural to you. But just know that theory. Et is very, very common in Hebrew. Why so? Because a lot of sentences have a direct, definite subject, article in front of the direct object. Even those terms, indefinite object, direct object, are probably new terms to you. I haven't heard that since high school, if you even heard it at all. But you need to pick that up. That's part of learning any language academically. Okay, anyway, we have the word at mora. Continue. Tamshich, Adoni. Next line. Daria?
Dalia ve'aviva morot.
Okay, Dalia and Aviva are morot. He correctly pointed at Vav with a patach. Let me say if he pointed it with a patach, we'll go into the Vav letter, which has a number of different vowels associated with it, and why the normal pointing of a shva is not with the word Aviva, it's Aviva. In fact, I'll explain it right now. The normal pointing of the letter Vav, which is a word for and. This is something that you'll learn later formally, but at this point, let me just give it to you. The normal pointing is with a shvana. If the Vav comes before certain letters, the Mem letter, the Bet letter, the Pei letter, and the Vav letter, the so-called bilabial letters, the Vav is pointed as a short, oo, oo, oo. And then if the Vav comes before a letter and is accented on the first syllable, like monosyllabic words, Yad Vashem, the Vav is pointed as a kamatz. So right away we have three different pointings of the Vav. Normal pointings is shvana, ve, but it can be pointed as u, and it can be pointed as va, depending on the words that follow. And then the fourth pointing, which is brought out with the word aviva, if the word Vav is added to a word like aviva, where the first consonant has a chata patach under the chata patach under it, the Vav takes on the sound of the chataf. So it's ba aviva. not de aviva. And for that matter, if the word, like my name, Ze'ev, begins with a shvanadrin, the vav takes on the pointing of a short. Otherwise, you have two shvanaim following each other, which is not possible. So right away, there are 3, 4, 5 different pointers of the vav. There's there are additional ones to this one. That's part of Hebrew grammar. It's not simple. You have to get down the principles. It's going to be repeated again and again. But Eli was able to say correctly va aviva and not de aviva. And finally, finish it up, Eli. Last one.
There's one hem orim.
Hey, what? Morim, correct. Hey, they, masculine, so hey, Morim. All right, people, that's what's called the fill-ins. And if you're able to follow the Mored, the Moran, Morim, I don't think we had, Modaya Vaviva would be too feminine, so be Morot. So we have everybody represented in this little exercise. The next exercise, I read her English.
What about him? The last one that said him?
We just did that one.
Oh, okay.
We just did the last
Oh,
one.
thank you.
Okay. I'm now looking at substitution drill, she calls it 3C5. Because the instruction is substitute the following subject nouns or pronouns and change the sentence accordingly. So what you have here is ani student ba'università, and then the replacement is the word he. Replace the word ani with the word he and make other changes to agree with he in the new sentence. You follow the sentence as it's given, but you now have a new subject pronoun. All right. Adi, do you have a book in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you read the example as given on each student, and then read the example that follows, and then take the first one with the word on top. Go, Adi.
אני סטודנט באוניברסיטה. היא סטודנטית באוניברסיטה.
No, stop right there. Adi has a good Hebrew pronunciation. He read through, his voice is very low for some reason. A little louder, Adi, so we all can hear you. But he read correctly. The ani word here is treated as masculine, otherwise you have the word studentit. She has the word student. And then at the university. She purposely puts a kamatz there rather than leave it without a vowel, because the word at the would be ba, and a university would be bim. A good example of the word definite or indefinite. I'm a student at a university, which is indefinite. At a, so the bet letter is pointing to a shvana. But if you say at the, and the definite article, which is next page, comes in, you strike that out, and the bet takes over its vowel, and that's what she wanted, and she has the English at the, so the Hebrew will be ba università. And then the repetition with the word he now. He is feminine singular, so it's studentit. Now the fill-ins. Go on to the next one.
Ready?
The last line now, the word is ata. Ata is now your subject.
אתה סטודנט באוניברסיטה.
Okay, stop right there. Ata student באוניברסיטה. Take one more.
הוא סטודנט באוניברסיטה.
Okay, are you all following what he's doing? Ata is masculine singular, so it's student. Who is masculine singular, so it's student. Hillel, do you want to try the next one? Just try to read a little bit. We're looking at the last line, if you have a book there, or whatever you got there, page 50.
So you just try to figure out which one it is pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Hillel, I don't hear you.
You're just trying to figure out which one to fill in the word with?
What you're doing now is using the word Yossi, and then how do you say Yossi is a student at the university?
Okay,
Just look at the sentence as given. Your new subject is Yossi, and then fill in student at the university.
you'll see Università.
All right, let me help you. Are you saying Yossi studentit or Yossi student?
Student.
Okay, why do you say student? Hillel, why did you conclude it's student, not studentit? Okay. No, stay with your answer. Why are you saying student?
that's how I thought it was supposed to be said.
You just, what you said before. You just didn't hear.
Is Yossi masculine or feminine? Joey, Joe.
It's masculine.
Well, look, that's the reason why.
That's the,
Okay, so Yossi, even though you may not know that word Yossi, Joey, I guess, Jose, whatever you want to say there, is student university. All right, try the next combination. You have two words here. Can you read the words?
which one is it? Oh, that.
Okay.
Yeah, I might need some help.
Aviva,
Aviva?
that's the name, we've seen already, that name already in the exercise before. Aviva, and then you'll notice the pointing of the Vav is with a Shva, Vi. And the name that follows that word and.
So Aviva.
Look at the word, it's Reish Shurak Tav. Could you read the Hebrew, Reish Shurak Tav?
Reish.
Say it again.
Reish Shurak Tav.
Are you, what name are you giving? Say the name.
Aviva.
Aviva is the first name, and the second name?
Reish Shurak Tav.
I'm looking at the Hebrew, it's Reish Shurak Tav. How would you read that syllable?
Well, how would I read it? So it's Aviva.
All right, the English is R-U-T-H. How do you read the word R-U-T-H?
Ruth.
Ruth, right.
Ruth, yeah.
Now look at the Hebrew. Try to visualize the resh is an R sound. The vav with a dot in the middle is not necessarily dagesh hazak. It's the sign of the short, the long U sound, and the tav at the end. So that's your R-U-T-H, root.
So it's
Okay, so now you have two names, Aviva and Ruth. Aviva or Ruth. Would you say it's studentim or studentiot?
Studenti.
Okay, that's singular, and the plural will be studentiot.
Studential.
Okay, that's what we have to do. You gotta recognize the gender of the subject. If the subject is more than one person or more than one subject, then you make sure you got the two together. In this case here, if it had the word Aviva and David, for example, a feminine subject and a masculine subject together, you go masculine. If it's strictly only women names, so to speak, then you go strictly with the feminine part. And what's interesting is the following. I want to give you now another lesson. It is not meant to be a lesson by Edna Compton. She doesn't think this way. I do. If you look at the word Ruth in English, R-U-T-H, they do not spell the name Ruth R-U-T. Her name is R-U-T-H. The letter Tav in Hebrew is a T sound. The letter Tav without the dagesh in it is really a T-H sound. That is why Ruth is a proper transliteration of the Hebrew Ruth. Among the Ashkenazim, if the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet does not have a dagesh in it, they pronounce it as an S sound, Rus, Rus. So I know of no Ashkenazi congregation pronounces the matriarch of the phonetic line as Rus. Everybody says Ruth. But I find it interesting that in academic Hebrew, the dagesh with a dalet, the tav with a dalet is a T sound, without it is a TH sound. Just like the gimel. Remember the gimel? Also dot without the dot. This is really a GH, and this is really a G sound. We don't see that anymore. But the root name does continue with a TH for the tav without the negation in it. Just an observation made by your professor. All right, let's continue. Anna, continue with the next one. Anachno,
Anachno student team.
Anachno student,
Team.
okay.
Or
Student team,
ST.
student team,
And studentiot.
Okay, if it's feminine, it would be studentio, but if it's masculine, it's studentim. Continue with one more, well, 1 second now, we forgot about Yirmiyahu. Yirmiyahu, continue with the next one. We're looking at page 50, 3 words, the third word from the end of that line, the last line.
Eitan. So go right there. So this one right here, and then you begin the sentence there. So it's Eitan.
Eitan.
And then just begin the sentence.
Eitem studentio? No.
Is student singular or plural?
Student singular.
Okay, but the word you read is, read that word again.
Eto.
Okay, atem.
Atem.
Atem, is that singular or plural? Okay, look at your subject pronouns again. I want to work with you a little bit right now. Where do you see the aniyata business? It's found on page 47. If you look at the word atem, you notice it has it in the column which has the word rabim. Yirmiyahu, go back to page 47. Do you see the chart there? You have the yachid, the singular of the subject pronoun, and then the plural is the word rabim. And right underneath the word anachnu, you have that word atem. Do you see the word atem there?
I do.
Okay, masculine plural. That M stands for masculine. Okay, so atem is masculine plural. So what would you say? Atem studentiot or atem studentim?
Masculine. TM.
Are you saying studentim or studentiot?
TM.
Okay, I'm just trying to say studentim. The word is studentim, it's masculine, atem studentim. All right, with one down, take the next one. Read the subject pronoun, the he and the mem. Okay, it's a little difficult for you,
So
Rial.
is that they?
Haim.
Haim.
Okay, again, you go back to your chart, which is vocalized, haim. And now you say to yourself, is haim singular, plural, masculine, or feminine?
Plural, they.
That's right, plural, they. Okay, what about the gender? What about the mean? The Hebrew word is mean, gender. Is it zachar or nekeva?
Masculine.
That's right. It's zachar, it's masculine. So now, fill it in. Haim is a student, is a studentim, is a studentiot, is a studentit. Which would be the qualifying word?
Haim is a student team.
That's right, haim studentim. With one up now and one down, let's break the tiebreaker. Go with one more, the aleph and tav. How would you read it? All right, Yirmiyahu, let's go together. Look at the chart. Do you see the aleph and the tav? Look at the vocalized chart. Find it for you.
On page 47 on the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Page 47, look at the word. You see that aleph tav by itself? All right, look at the right-hand side of that chart where you have the singular, the yachid. You see ani, you see ata, you see that third word?
Is it
At, that's it, say at.
Okay.
Okay, so now you have it recognized. You see what it says in the text. It's a you, the word you, singular feminine, it stands for feminine. With that understood, now go back to fill in the last exercise. She, or rather you, are a student at the university. Go ahead now, Aunt.
Okay, student T.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, student T.
At the university.
By university time.
Okay, well, university. All right, let me speak to the class right now. Our good friend Yirmiyahu is picking up Hebrew. He's got to learn it well. He wants to go into the profession one day, et cetera, et cetera. And something that you may not know, Yirmiyahu is a veteran Marine, and I can tell you the first time he was told to do some sit-ups or some ups, Elah means a question.
The hay letter.
Hey Ashela, we're not studying the hey used to introduce a sentence as a question. We're using the other hey, the so-called definite article hey, known in Hebrew as the hey hayediyah. The root of the word yediyah is yud daled ayin. Let me make a comment about that. Yud daled ayin is the word to know in Hebrew. But it's not just simply to know cursory, it's to know intimately. And so when it comes to facts, you have the Yud Dalet Ayin used. When it comes to something else, like a living person, as in English, I know her or I know him, you don't use the Yud Dalet Ayin, unless the knowledge of that person is totally intimate. So, for example, I know Lavana, I would say Ani Makir, I recognize her. I don't say Ani Odea. If I do, I'll get slapped in the face by my wife. How dare you say that to her? Lavana would say, I like that idea. Say the word Yodea. No, I'm not going to say the word Yodea. Yodea is intimate knowledge. So when it comes to facts, Ani Odea. Yodea Ivrit, you know some Hebrew, means you know it intimately. Otherwise, you recognize Ani Makir. So that's what's meant by the definite article. A definite article is something specific, as I already implied. I see a bottle, I see the bottle. When I say I see the bottle, I have a specific bottle in mind. That's what the definite article is about. Now the rules of the definite article, they're going to have different vowels attached to the hay. The basic attachment is the hay with a pata. The hay is pointed with a pata. Attached to the word that follows, and the first letter of the word that follows, there's a dagesh chazak. Notice what I'm writing. The hey with a patach, the X represents the word to which the hey is attached to, and has a dot in it. The dot has nothing to do with the dagesh kal. It's the strong dot to close the patach that now is attached to it by the hey idiyah. So, for example, the word shomer. Shomer is a watchman or guard. I want to say the watchman. I add the definite article, pata. I place a dagesh hazak in that shin. Hashomer. Hashomer. The watchman. Rather than shomer, a watchman. That's item number one. Item number two deals with original letters. The aleph, the ayin, the hey, and the chesh. These four letters, and you might also throw in the resh as well, cannot be doubled. They don't receive dagesh hazak. So before the four originals and the letter resh, you point the definite article with a kamatz. With a kamatz. That medial kamatz would avoid the doubling of the letter that follows, given these letters cannot be doubled. So, for example, I say the word rosh. The word rosh is a word for head. And here's a good example of the aleph letter, not a consonant. The aleph is a sign of the vowel O. You were told that the long kolam is normally with a vowel, but the long kolam can also be indicated by a hey, can also be indicated by an aleph. And here's a good example. The aleph here is not a consonant, it's the marker of a long O sound. Rosh. Rosh. As long as I'm talking that way, look at the word Rishon. Rishon is the Hebrew word for first. First, F-I-R-S-T. That aleph is a sign of a long E, not the yud in this case, it's an aleph. So the aleph can be the sign of a long E, the aleph can be the sign of a long O, the aleph can be the sign of a ah sound, because you have words that have the alephs indicating the kamatz. Or the aleph can be the sign of the A sound. If you take the word Bereshit, the first word of the Hebrew Bible, Bereshit, the word Reshit. Notice how I spell it. The aleph is a sign of the Lord Seri. That's what these four letters do. The aleph, the hey, the vav, the yud can be signs of a vowel rather than a consonant. Anyway, you have hashomer, normal portion of the definite article, and a patach. That kamatz before the four originals and the letter resh. And then there's a third principle. If the definite article is affixed to a word which has the original letters, aleph, hey, aleph, ayin, hey, and chet, and given the vowel underneath the original letter is a medial kamatz, the hey is pointed with a sickle. The hey is pointed with a sickle. I believe she cites that. Okay, these are three basic principles dealing with the definite article. Overwhelmingly, it's a patach, the gesh hazak, next letter. The other two principles deal with original letters. And then the confident, I believe, goes into some of that as she basically describes the definite article on page 51. Notice the examples given, habayit. You see that word habayit there on page 51? You have the word bayit, which is a word for house or home, and then the definite article, habayit. It has a patach under it, and there's a dagesh in that bet. And that's where you start giving your own information. The word bayit by itself, the word bayit by itself has a dagesh in that bet. And this is where Garber comes in. The so-called Bega Kefet letters, the so-called Bega Kefet, the bet, the gimel, the dalet, the kav, the pei, the tav. If they begin a word, have a dagesh kal, the so-called light dot, the dagesh lene, as it's called in academic English. And when I add the definite article, that dagesh stays in its place, but it's now a dagesh hazak. So bayit by itself is a dagesh kal. The house has a dagesh hazak. Habayit. And don't forget your Slavication. Watch what I'm about to do now. The hey has a patach under it. The patach is closed by doubling the bet letter. And notice there's an accent over that patach. The short vowel, the syllable, has to be accented. Habayit. And then something else I taught you. Every noun in Hebrew has three different states. One is the absolute state, which is with the indefinite article, by the house. The other is the definite article, habayit, the house, the definite state of noun. And then the third is the so-called construct, house of, which is now he beit. So from bayit, habayit to beit. Like a beit midrash, house of study. Beit a public house. Beit midrash, we said the Beit Knesset, a synagogue, and so on. There's so much with everything. She just gives a few selections here. But the next selection we already showed you. If the definite articles are fixed to an original letter, the patach cannot be because the original letter cannot be doubled. And so you have ha'ish. See that hey there has a medial kamatz under it. But then the next one, hacheder, should you not follow what you said, Garber, and should there not be a kamatz in the hey? And what you find here is the phenomenon of potentially close. So what Edna wants to say about the word hacheder is that the chet letter does not double, but it's so strong, you leave the hey with a regular patach. I will find that to be a little inconsistent. Have all the original letters have the hey with a kamatz, though admittedly the chet letter may not necessarily require the kamatz. You say hached there, but it's potentially closed. That pata should be closed, but it can't be done with the head, so it's potentially closed. And then she tells you that more information about the definite article is found on page 493. On page 493, and I go to the end of this book here, she has additional comments which she does not talk about when she introduces us. And probably on page 493, she probably speaks a little more about the head letter. I want you to follow my rule, basically, and basically have the kamatz. Have the kamatz with all the original letters. Okay. She has another exception coming up. All right, then I take a look at the last word, the mountains. See that word harim? The meaning of kamatz is underneath the hay. Point you to the definite article with a single hey harim. Here, she and I agree. When you go back to 493, you'll notice, look at 493, if you have that open to you. She mentions if the head, the iron letter are accented like in a monosyllabic word, and there's a kamatz, and the hay letter would take the kamatz and would not be constrained to a single. This already is a little more advanced. Don't bother with that. On page 493, she mentions the four originals and the letter resh. Okay, so we basically agree, except with that word hached there. I'm not disagreeing with Edna. She's the Israeli. She has the superiority of spoken in grammatical Hebrew as well, and probably because it's closed by potentially closed. But I'd rather have you be more consistent. All the original letters point to hey with a kamatz. If an original letter has a medium kamatz under it, point to hey with a single. And then finally, what about the so-called hey hashelah? The hey hashelah, the hey that introduces a question, is pointed with a chata pata. Please add an addendum to what I said so far. The hey with a chata pata, attached to the word that follows. This is the hey hashelah, the hey of the question. And there's one sentence that stands out among all the sentences. It is the sentence of the first murder that's mentioned by involving individuals. The story of Cain and Abel. Where the question is, where is your brother? And the response by Cain is, this is how it's found. Am I my brother's keeper? Hashem Berach Anochi. The Hebrew Torah is not vocalized. The way in which that sentence is read in all your translations, Hashomer, with a hatapata, Hashomer Achiyanochi. Am I my brother's keeper? Suggesting if I'm not, then why the hell are you asking me where's your brother? In your language, am I responsible? Am I? Then why are you blaming me? Why are you blaming all Israelis as being genocidal? Why are you blaming all Muslims as being God, blessed, God damn individuals? Do you understand how that comes out? What if the pointing is with a definite article? Hashomer Achi Anochi. I am my brother's keeper. goes on in the West Bank right now with Jewish settlers destroying Palestinian settlements. He's to be responsible. Hashomer. Hashomer. My young students, I don't know if you learned the lesson. Unlocalized Hebrew can be read this way or that way. It really reflects you. That's supposed to represent the definite article and the word shame, Hashem, the name, the essence. And I guess it's, there's something powerful in that. It's meant to be the name, but the hey by itself is also representative of God. And once you see the hey as the definite article, then you can almost see that connection. On the other hand, Yirmiyahu can tell you better than I can that hey could also be the sign of a question. Does Hashem you talk about? How do you know? Which is a big theological question. God's presence and God's not presence, and God's feeling and God not feeling. These are questions religious people ask when it comes to tragedy. It's a lifelong position. I live my life that way, and it's part of how I write. And it's just your pronunciation, whether it's ha or he or whatever, that will give away how you write. But make sure when you write, it's either a pata or medio kamatz or segol. Okay, we're looking at the bottom of page 51. The exercise is 3D1. Again, this will be a practice of you able to read unvocalized Hebrew. Adi, why don't you start? Read the word as is and then read it with a definite article.
Talmid.
That's right. All right, Talmid is the first one. How do you say this, students?
Talmid.
And what's underneath the hay? Apata. Okay. All right, I better do this so that some of you get used to saying the names of the vowels. Hey patach, hey patach, hey patach. And notice I don't say patach, it's patach. The minute I say patach, that ought to indicate it's a patach there, a patach. Let's get down the word. I say patach, I'm hitting, so to speak, that first syllable. On the other hand, why should I get that first syllable? If that first syllable written by garbage, or I guess it's not the next letter, it should be patach. But if I put dagesh up there, the syllable is closed. It should be patach. And I'll be very frank with you people, I don't think that word is spelled this way, but a kamatz. So if I say patach, then I really have in mind that the tav and the tav and dagesh tav is really not existing. See what's happened to me? I'm so familiar with that word patach, I say it that way. I am now going to check the Milon, just out of curiosity, and see if he spells it with dagesh chazak in that tav letter. If so, then the word should be pronounced patach. But I would not be surprised that it is. And the question is, Professor, you so much with your Hebrew grammar, how is it you can't pronounce the word properly? It's because I'm so familiar with the patach word that I don't even think that's an error, and therefore gave the explanation I do, when the reality is you ought to check everything you say just to be on the safe side. That's exactly what the Moreh is doing right now. I'm going to double check to see if he has that word. Yeah, he has, all right. He has the word patach, which means to open. I know that meaning. But does he have the vowel here? Just 1 second. Yep. Patach. All right, the spelling according to the dictionary. It is spelled with patach, dagesh chazak, and medio kamatz here. I never spelled that word this way. The official spelling of the word patach is a patach and dagesh chazak. The word should be pronounced as patach. I know of no Israeli who says patach. They say patach. Definitely the Ashkenazim say patach. All right, people, I learned something. Do you understand the example that you're now learning? If the professor himself acknowledges before a group of students he's made an error all his life in teaching a name of that vowel, how much more so should students learn the lesson? No instructor would be that brave to say he made an error. I do. That's how I always spelled it. I'm wrong. This is how you spell it. And the accent should be on the last syllable. Patach. Anyway, let's watch the time a little bit. Stay with me. Let's just do this exercise. Okay, so it'd be Hat Talmid. Okay. All right, the next one. Keep on reading, Adi. The next word.
More.
Okay, Moreh, you want to read? How do you say the teacher?
Hamore.
Okay, Anita, hey, there's the Patach and Dagesh Chazak and the Mem. Take the third word. Go, Adi.
Rofim.
Okay, Rofi'im. Sound the Shvana Anita Fei. Rofi'im. How do you say the teachers, the doctors?
Harofim.
Anita, hey.
Apatach.
Apata. All right, correct him. Anita Haywood, Harofiim, Ravana?
Patach?
Apata. Anita Hay, Haya, Hana?
Hapotach. Potach.
No, what should be Anita Hay when you say Harofiim?
Harofim.
What should be Anita Hay? Takarach Hay,
Komas.
Akamatz. All right, my dear friends, the four laryngeal letters cannot take a Dagesh Chazak. So the hay will have a kamatz underneath it, Harofiim. The next three, Baruch, pick up with the word Sefer.
Sefer.
How do you say the book?
Ha Sefer.
What's underneath the hay?
Patach.
What's in the samech?
Dagesh.
Dagesh Chazak.
Dagesh
Okay.
Chazak.
Next word, go Baruch.
Okay. Shiurim.
How you say the lessons?
Hashiurim.
Underneath the hay, patak or kamatz.
Patach.
Okay, next word.
Me?
Yes.
Shafa. Shafa.
Shafa, yeah.
Ha-shafa.
Underneath the hay,
I don't know what shafa is, but I would guess patach.
apata, and then Dagesh Chazak said, okay. The next words, Eli,
Second. Pekida.
Pekida, yeah, how do you say the inspector?
51, 3D1.
What's underneath the hay?
Pekida. Patach.
Apata, and Dagesh Chazak and the hay. Next word, go ahead, Eli.
Universita.
Does it say Università? Look carefully.
No, I can barely see on my phone.
I don't hear you.
Universitat.
Universitot, how do you say the universities?
Ha-Universitat.
Matachadahe,
Patach.
Apata.
Yes.
All right, correct that error. What's underneath the hay with Ha Universitot?
Oh, because it's Aleph. Kamatz.
Kamatz, okay. And when you say kamatz, there's no Dagesh Chazak in the Aleph. All right, the next two, Hana, Achaya,
Hamorim.
underneath the hay,
Patach.
Apata, Dagesh Chazak Bamem. Next one, go ahead.
Talmida. Hatalmida.
Okay, and then Tachadahe is what?
Giveret.
No, what's underneath the hay of Talmidah?
Hatalmida. Ted. Yes, Dagesh Chazak.
Okay, Dagesh Chazak at the top. What's underneath the hay? Matachadahe.
Ha.
Apata. Okay, that's what I want. All right, the last two. Go, Yirmiyahu.
Gaveret.
That's it. How do you say the miss?
Hag.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Hagaveret.
That's right. What's underneath the hay? What is it? Patach or kamatz?
Patach.
You say patach?
Yeah.
Good. All right, and finally the last one.
Avodah.
That's it. Avodah. How do you say the word?
Ha-Avodah.
And what's underneath the hay? Think of four laryngeals. They can't take a Dagesh Chazak. What's underneath the hay? Is it a patach or kamatz?
Come on.
Kamatz. All right, before you guys take a little break, in the case of Yirmiyahu, do not forget that the one word you couldn't say looks like that. Don't you ever forget that symbol. You have
They
no
won't let
idea
me.
how Zeb Garber teaches evangelical pastors Lord Hebrew. Think of that. The interruption, hafsakah, is a recess, you might say. And if you look at that word hafsakah, whenever you're looking at Hebrew, don't look at the first letter, don't look at the last letter. It's the middle of the word. Pick up 3 good, healthy letters, and chances are you have the shoresh, you have the root of a word. The word root in Hebrew, roots R-O-O-T. Notice now how I'm going to make a little distinction. I was born in the Bronx, New York. The Bronx, New York is one of the 4 boroughs of New York City. The others include Queens and Manhattan, and also the largest of the boroughs. The borough that had a broken glass for my time, the borough that was Brooklyn. Most Jews live in this borough. Jews who live in the Bronx are of a different attitude than the Brooklyn people, but we all were Bronxites. We all were New Yorkers, put it that way. Anyway, I say the word root, the root of a word. I am told that's not how you say that word, but that's how I say it, coming from my birthplace called the Bronx. If you say the word root of the word, it sounds like the name roots, R-U-T-H. And right away, people detect from your dialect of how you speak in English, or the part of the country that's from Central America, whatever, and so goes on and on and on. The word hafsakah, as I mentioned moments ago, don't look at the first letter, don't look at the last letter. It's in the heart of the word that you probably find the roots. If you look at the word hafsakah, the kamatse at the end is a giveaway that the word, whether you know its meaning or not, is a feminine singular word. All nouns in Hebrew are either masculine or feminine, and the key is the last syllable of the word. That will probably tell you the gender, if it's feminine or the plurals, and if they're neither one, then the word is probably masculine. And then the word hafsakah basically is the definite article, you might argue, and then the root is the pei, the samach, the kuf. Any word that has these 3 letters as the shoresh, that's the word I want now in Hebrew, as the shoresh. The fact that I hit that first syllable tells me that the word is spelled with a mida cholam. I don't say shoresh, I say shoresh. That's how a sound can possibly help you determine whether, in this case, the cholam is either long with a vav or medial without the vav. It happens to be spelled correctly on the board. Shoresh, the root of a word. Anyway, any word that has the pei samach kuf means a recess, an interruption. So a sentence that we're doing now are known as a pasuk. A pasuk is often used in the synagogue to refer to a sentence of the Torah when the Torah is printed out. A pasuk. It's the same shoresh as the word hafsakah, a recess. And I guess what's meant by that is when you read a sentence of the Bible, you stop, you interpret, you understand, you investigate. That's what's meant by reading and interpretation. The Torah shebektav, the written Torah, and shebal peh, how you understand the written Torah. That's what I went into with that hashomer achi anochi versus hashomer, the hey with the question mark, or the hey, the definite article. It makes a whole difference. And the same thing goes for the pasuk. A pasuk is something that you read and you stop. So, for example, without the Torah being in front of me, well, I have the printed Bible here. If I read the very first sentence of the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Bible does not have sentences, that is to say the Torah scroll, doesn't have paragraphs, doesn't have question marks, doesn't have, declarative marks, doesn't have periods, does nothing. It's just written Hebrew. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. How do I know that this whole business is Bereshit bara Elokim? because I'm trained to read it that way by the printed Bible. And the printed Bible has vowels. And that's where you need to be very skeptical. Who writes these vowels? A sofer writes them. A scribe writes them. And look at the spelling of the word sofer. It has the same spelling as the word sefer, a book. And that word sefer doesn't mean a book that's printed necessarily. It can mean a scroll. We refer to the Torah scroll as a Sefer Torah. And when we say Sefer Torah, we don't mean a printed Bible. We mean a handwritten scribal Torah. That same word is now used for printed and for scribal, when it was handwritten. And the shortish of that word, Samach Peresh. I don't think you know what that means. It's related to the word mispar. Mispar is the Hebrew word for number. Mispar. Mispar. The number. And that deals with the word counting, for example, as in the word Sphira. The period between Passover and Shavuot is known as the Sphira period in Ashkenazic Hebrew, or the Sphira in Sephardic Hebrew. You count the 7 weeks. All of a sudden you have the word to count, the word book, the word scroll, the word scribe. What the hell is going on here? It's all related. When a scribe, a sofer, writes the Sefer Torah, he counts every letter. He counts every letter. And he knows exactly what's on the 3rd position, what's in the 5th position. He goes very slowly. He doesn't just... To write a Torah scroll, it only takes a good year, a whole year to write a Torah scroll. You go very slowly. And when it comes to the sacred name, you're supposed to take a bath or the mikvah. Before you know it, the time goes on and on and on and on. So when I read Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, and translates as in the beginning God created heaven and earth, that translation is totally foreign to the Hebrew. Bereshit means in a beginning of. It doesn't mean in the beginning. But in the beginning should be Bareshit, Bareshit, bin the, ba. It says bin, in a beginning of. The word Reshit is the construct. And then looking at the word bara, Bereshit bara Elokim, et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Are you aware of the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that the word is spelled as 8? The word is not spelled as et. The word is not spelled as the sign of the definite article, even though you have the word hashamayim v'haaretz that follows. Let me repeat myself. I am reading from the printed Hebrew Bible. In a beginning of is what the first word means. Bara Elokim, God created or created God. 8, not et. Hashamayim, ve'et, not et. Haaretz. Stop right there. The sign of a direct definite article is et, not 8. 8 by itself is the word with, W-I-T-H. When you read the Torah scroll without vowels, it's spelled the same way. It's the reader that is able to put in the vowels verbally. And now you have it printed as 8. If I wanted to be literal in my translation, in a beginning created God with the heaven and the earth. My friend Yirmiyahu and everybody else who cares about theology, the biblical Trinity is God, heaven, and earth. You read it. I'm not meaning anything. I'm just suggesting an interpretation. Well, naturally, it's not going to be accepted. So 8 becomes another way of saying it. And before you know it, you get out of it that way. But the vocalization has 8, not et. Do you understand, Levana, now the purpose of oral Torah? Oral Torah sees a problem, they got a new interpretation. And some of your new Bibles has when God began to create heaven and earth. To get rid of the phrase in the beginning. Language can influence everything. I gave you an article at the very beginning, Reason and Revelation. Read that article again and again. It's my position. It's powerful. And it was published in the Journal of Ecumenical Studies, which is a major journal for Christians to read. I acknowledge I misspelled that word patach. The proper, I still say patach, I'm not going to change my pronunciation. Once you get into a habit of saying a word the way you say it, you ain't going to change it that easily. And again, the notion of the word number and counting, etc., is no doubt the counting of the letters. That's probably where you have the relationship between the word number, mispar, and the word sefer, and the word sphira, the counting period, etc. Anyway, getting back to the word patach. The proper spelling of that word patach, judging from the below, from the dictionary, is spelled this way. I've made the error all my years by spelling the word this way. It's spelled with a medial kamatz. The patach here has a dagesh hazak, it's CVC. This syllable is CVC. Medial kamatz is either open or closed syllable, and accented. That's not a problem. The word should be patach, not patach. And then that word anochi. I double checked with Hannah. Hannah asked the question about that word anochi. Anochi properly spelled is with a kamatz, a medial cholam. That's how you spell it. I've been spelling the word anochi all my life with a vav after the nun. Again, this is Israeli spelling of the word. Israelis will put a vav there to get the medial cholam sound. Unless you check a dictionary, you would not be correct. You just simply spell it very straight. But now it makes sense. The word is anochi, anochi, not anochi. I always say anochi, never realizing it's a medial cholam there, not the long cholam. And this kamatz could be short, or medial. If it is short, it should be a closed syllable, unaccented. The syllable is not closed, there's no dagesh hazak in the nun, and there's not a shmanach underneath the nun, so it's an open syllable, clear sign, it's medial kamatz. But the medial kamatz has to be either accented or one place removed from the accent. So if this is a medial cholam, it gets the accent. This is one place removed, and the syllables are CV, CV, and the last syllable is CV with a long vowel, which is regular. I know. And then there's a question. What's the anochi and ani? The word anochi means I, the word ani means I. What is the difference? I don't know. Except to say, maybe anochi is older and ani is more common. Anochi Hashem Elokeinu, I am the Lord your God. Anochi looks more full. It's more full. I don't know how to explain it. It's just that both words are used. What you
Page
have in the
52.
exercise, change the positive statements. Looking at exercise 3E1 on page 52, where we're told to change the positive statement to the negative by adding the negative part below. Now, no word is used with verbs. The past tense or future. Hebrew doesn't have a present tense, no, and that's why, Hebrew doesn't have a present tense. That's why the proper word for the so-called present negative is the word aid. Let me go over that with you. That word aid is the proper word, not low. Low is a negative used with verbs. The present tense for the Benoni, I gave you that word last time, or the Hoped, doesn't have a verb as a present tense. And so the word aid is used with nouns. Another way of saying a noun is the word a substance, a substantive, I should say. A substantive. The word is spelled this way, substantive, which is something that has substance to it. Verbs have motion, action. A noun has a substance, a book, a table, a hand. It's a substance. Ain is the proper word. but no Israeli uses ein. They'll use the word lo. So, for example, I am not watching. The proper Hebrew is ein ani shomer. Israelis will say ani lo shomer. They'll use the word lo. She makes that point. The problem, however, is that the word lo, when it is used properly, means totally. It does not mean partially. When you say lo with a verb, it means you cannot break the negative. Think of the 10 commandments and the negative statements that are found therein all have the word lo. If you say ein, it means now I don't do it, but maybe tomorrow I can do it. Just keep that in mind, because that's one of the problems when you have spoken Israeli Hebrew replacing grammatical Hebrew, you might say. So, for example, I'm looking at her examples here. On page 52, Ruth Sharon is a student. Ruth Sharon studentit. If I say Ruth Sharon lo studentit, that means, listen to me carefully, under every and all circumstances, Ruth Sharon would not be a student. It means permanently she's not a student. That's probably not the intent when you say Ruth Sharon is not a student. It means today, it means tomorrow. But what about next week? If I use the word ein, I would say ein Ruth Sharon student. It means at this moment, present tense so-called, she's not a student. But tomorrow she may be. That's the difference. She does not, Edna, make that distinction when she describes that word lo. In fact, she does say it. I'm looking at page on the top there. She writes, the particle lo is used to negate its predicate in the so-called present tense in the standard form of spoken Hebrew, meaning spoken Hebrew. In a more formal Hebrew, the particle ein is used for the same purpose. And ein, I'm going to qualify, deals with substantives, deals with nouns, because the so-called present tense is really non-existent in Hebrew. And then she writes, in this course, the more common law will be used. She's not going to use the word ein. Okay, that's her way of explaining it. I gave you a more complete picture. All right, we're now doing the exercise. What you read, you have the positive statement, then you add the word lo before your predicate, noun that is, and then you have your negative. All right, with that said, we'll get started with Hannah. Hannah, page 52, Targil 3E1. בבקשה, גברת. Okay, 1 second. Read what's written as the positive, then read the negative. Go ahead. Mark.
دانی مورر
Wait. Are you
Dani.
reading?
It should be a negation, the first one on top, I think.
Oh.
On the very top, the one on the top that we read before, the first one.
مرکوهن تلمید
That's right. Mark Kohen, much?
مرکوهن تلمید
Talmid. Okay, now the negative.
مرکوهن لو تلمید
That's right. Mark Kohen, lo Talmid. If I want to use the word ein, it will be ein Mark Kohen Talmid. Anyway, we're not going to bother with ein, just lo. Tamshichi, continue.
دانی موره לעברית دانی לא موره לעברית
יפה מאוד. עוד אחד.
רינה סטודנט רינה לא סטודנט
All right, תסתכלי היטב. I'm going to speak to you in Hebrew. תסתכלי, observe closer. רינה סטודנט, מה כתוב שם? רינה סטודנט או רינה סטודנט?
טיט
אוקיי.
רינה סטודנט
אוקיי, עוד פעם, תקראי את המשפט.
רינה סטודנטית רינה לא סטודנטית
יפה מאוד. Okay, you first read it as Rinah student, which is possible. In this day and age, we don't make a gender distinction anymore. We're going to stay with the genders. Dani sounds masculine, Rinah sounds feminine. So Rinah studentit, she in fact tells us the gender by giving us studentit, comes studentit. All right, Baruch, the next
3E1. All right, so it was after Hasu to do not Hasu to donate Pikadav Ba'amelshala.
Okay, well, let's stop it right there. Read again, slower. Read again.
הסטודנית, the student,
All right, הסטודנט.
הסטודנט,
Somehow you added another syllable. הסטודנט.
הסטודנט, פקיד
That's it.
בממשלה.
עכשיו the negative.
הסטודנט לא פקיד בממשלה.
Okay, הסטודנט לא פקיד בממשלה. הלאה, next one.
מי?
No,
המורות.
no, what's the no? Hala is not Chaya. Okay, or Chana. Baruch, Hala, further, continue.
אוקיי. המורות תלמידות. אין המורות תלמידות.
All right, you want to use the word hey? Just stay with the word lo.
אוקיי. המורות לא תלמידות.
Lo talmidot.
כן, כן.
Okay.
Okay.
Baruch has a tendency of giving another little sound when he reads. That's fine, but I think we need to stay with the Hebrew as is. Hamorot, hamorot. That
Hamorot.
word hamorot. Again, I have a problem with some of you when it comes to reading Hebrew, and particularly that word hamorot. Let me make sure you understand what I'm doing. If I had a question with that translation of Bereshit bara Elokim, Eight Hashemayim, it should be Et Hashemayim, and eight means with the heaven, with the earth, but even though translations will have it, eight means synonymous with the word Et. That's possible according to Jewish tradition. But I'm going to play around with Hebrew right now. The word is Morah, Morah. You add the definite article, Hamorah. And then when you say the plural, it's hamorot. Hamorot. The problem with the word hamorot is that some of us will not say a hey, will say a chet. And all of a sudden the word sounds like hamorot. The word hamor. Hamor is a donkey. Are you trying to tell me your female teachers are donkeys? Sounds like it. You say chamorot. The way out of that dilemma is that the word chamor. Let's look at that word. A good word for you to know. An ass. I'm not referring to your so-called, body features right now. ASS is the accepted word for a donkey. An ass.
As opposed to hatachas.
Just wait a minute. That's Tachat is part of who you are, how you sit. Chamor, ASS. The poor donkey has a name ass. Look at its syllabization. It's got two syllables. You all see that? First syllable CV, and that medial kamatz is one place you remove the accent. CVC is the second syllable. Not an issue. The word chamor is masculine. So the plural of the word chamor is chamorim. Watch how I spell that word with a kamatz now reduced to a chatapatach. The chamor, the kamatz is one place you go for the accent. Add your long kirik mem. The accent now is over here. This kamatz is two places removed, reduced to a shvana. Okay, can I take a shvana? The chatapatach replaces a shvana. Chamorim is the plural of the word chamor, not chamorot. Anyway, it's just an interesting word, given the translation and the English association of that word. The word hamor and hamorim with a hey, not with a s. Okay, we're back to our Hebrew again. Hamorot, tamidot, hamorot, tamidot. Okay, the next couple. Let's try you, Jeremiah. Just try to read the sentence. Geveret Sharon. Okay, you see the four letters. All right, we say more or mora? That's right. Given, it's Geveret, that's a clear indication, it's a man, M-A-A-M if you wish, a woman, so it's a mora. And then where is she a teacher? Do you not see the name of that city?
What is it?
It's got 2 words to it.
Is it the fifth one?
Is it San Francisco?
I don't know if you have the same line even.
Beitel Tel Aviv.
It's the sixth line.
Okay. Tel Aviv, okay, but Tel Aviv. Are you reality? You don't see it? Geveret Sharon Morah Tel Aviv. How do you make it negative? Make that sentence negative. Yirmiyahu, say the name, Mrs. Sharon, say it in Hebrew. Read the 2 names, read the 2 words. All right, Geveret,
Guveret,
Sharon,
Guveret Sharon is low.
that's right, then it's low, and then continue teacher, how do you say teacher?
Morah.
Morah,
Yeah,
and then
Morah, I mean, Tel Aviv, but
B'Tel Aviv, okay, Geveret Sharon, lo Morah, she's not a teacher, B'Tel Aviv. All right, Levana, take the next one.
Mar Giveret, Cohen,
Okay.
Hakidim?
Okay, what's the last name here? Akav Tehei Nun.
Cohen?
Cohen, right. Look at the last sentence in that exercise. There's where she vocalizes that name. She should have the vocalization of the sentence that you're reading. The name is Kohen, which means a Kohen, a priest. Mar Ugeveret. The vav is pointed with a short before Gimel, which has a shvana under it. So Mar Ugeveret Kohen. Continue, Levana.
Hakidim?
That's right. Pikidim.
Hakidim? Be'universitam?
Make it negative now.
Mar Ugeveret Cohen Lo Hakidim Be'universitam?
Okay, Mar Ugeveret. Did you say the word?
I think so. I think I said Ugeveret.
Okay, as long as you have the vav here. The vav is normally pointed with a shvana before a word that has a shvana in the first letter. The vav is pointed as a short u. Mar Ugeveret Kohen Pikidim Ba'universitam. That word Pakidim, the word Pikidim. Again, people, I can't go over this more than I've been doing every hour. Whenever you have a kamatz, a video kamatz, it's gotta be accented, or one place removed from the accent. The word is pakid. The minute I add the plural marker, 1, 2, 3, the accent is now on the 3rd syllable. There's 2 places removed from the accent with the video kamatz, and it will reduce the shvana. So it's pakid in the singular, but pikidim in the plural.
So the Sfana would make it the plural at the beginning.
How's that?
The Sfana at the beginning would be for the plural. That's what you just said.
It's not pakidim, it's pikidim. Question, why is it not pakidim? Again, the rule of the medium kamatz is either accented or one place removed. In the case of pakid, the emphasis is on the last syllable, long vowel close, definitely must be accented. This guy is one place removed from it. And once I add the mark of the plural, then this is 2 places removed, 2 places, and reduces to a shvana. That's standard Hebrew. All right, let me see what time it is. I still want to do a few more words with you. Okay, and then finally the last example. Levana finishes.
What's the first word?
Huh?
No, it's the next one.
You're looking at the last sentence.
No, I know, I'm asking you, I don't know what the word is.
The word is doctor.
Oh, for sure. So I just say doctor?
Okay.
Dr. David Cohen, Rofe, and is it Hadassah?
That's right, Hadassah. Again, the hospital name, hit the last syllable, Hadassah, Hadassah. And let's write out that word Hadassah because I have a feeling it's not able to follow sometimes, everybody. The name for both a person and for the hospital name. Spelled like this, the hay has underneath it a chatapata. Watch the syllabication. The chatapata is treated like a shwana. The hay is a consonant. The chatapata, like a shwana, you put a letter ayin after the consonants. Syllable does not end with C ayin. You go on to the next combination, CV. You stop right there. You ask the question, is the gamatz medium or is it short? If it's short, it should be part of a closed, unaccented syllable. I don't see a closing feature in the samach, no shvanach, no lagesh hazak. I conclude that the syllable is open, C-I-N-C-V, C-I-N-C-V. Second syllable is CV, last letter hey, I told you multiple times, is not a real consonant, it's a sign of the sound of the out. Hadassah is the hospital name, Hadassah is the pronunciation of a personal name. How come the same spelling, two different pronunciations? I guess it's to make a distinction. The name was always Hadassah. Along comes a hospital named after Hadassah, Queen Esther, and so we make a shift of the sound.
It also means myrtle, right?
Murder?
Myrtle. The
Yeah.
plant? Yeah.
All right, people, I recognize the time. I want to just get you into the next exercise and watch what I want to do. I want to do the 3 sentences that are listed here. Don is a student at the university.
3E2,
The indefinite
52.
article A does not have any Hebrew. The B word is an R, and does not exist in Hebrew. So the first 4 words, Don is a student, only 2 words get translated. Don student. At is the word bit. The university is the hey with the word university that follows, and then in Jerusalem. Don student ba universita b Yerushalayim. That letter normally is pointed with a shvana, and let me make a point about it. The bet letter, stay with me. There are 3 letters, the bet letter, the kaf letter, and the lamed letter. These are prefixes. Bet translates as in or at. That can also be the word with, W-I-T-H. The kaf letter is like or as. The lamed means for, F-O-R, to, of, has multiple meanings. The normal pointing of the bakal letters, I'll take the bet as an example, is with a shvana. But like the hey letter and like the vav letter, it has different pointings depending on what follows. So in this particular case, the word is, let me get down that word, Jerusalem, I thought so. If the word that you're attaching the bet letter to, as in the case of Yerushalayim, begins with a yud and a shvana under it, begins with a yud, a shvana under it, this is the problem. The bet's normal pointing is with a shvana. There's a shvak cluster. The bet therefore gets replaced, the shvak gets replaced by a chirit, and then with a yud, with a shvana under it, the shvana drops out completely. So the phrase in Jerusalem is be Yerushalayim. Not be Yerushalayim, but be Yerushalayim. Be Yerushalayim. A long hearing. I know the time is up, just stay with me. I want to do 3 sentences. Don is a student. Don student, ba universita, be Yerushalayim. We are students at the University of Jerusalem. Anachnu studentim, ba universita, be Yerushalayim. And finally, Dr. Cohen, Rofei Behadasa. You do this at home, finish up the whole exercise, and on Thursday, if you're set, if God so wills it, we will finish this whole unit, and next week already, we'll start unit number 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me have your final attention. You're a decent group, you're trying very hard.